The protagonist of this anime goes by the name Rei, the most common name in anime history. It's like every time anime makers are naming characters, they go, just call him Rei. It worked for the last 50 protagonists, right? Anyway, back to our story. At the age of 13, Rei became the most powerful sorcerer in the world. When he was a young boy, his parents died in the East War. Lydia, a powerful sorceress, found Rei unconscious after his village was destroyed. She decided to take him to their camp. Lydia explained the situation to the group, but the kingdom refused to accept Rei due to a curse on his village. Lydia was determined not to leave him, especially after he woke up. Carol, a member of the group, felt a strong connection to Rei and stayed with him while he slept. When Rei woke up, he remained quiet even though Carol gently asked him questions out of curiosity. Lydia approached Rei and asked about his name. After looking around and observing the people, Rei finally introduced himself by speaking up.
Rei.
Carol was touched by his name and gave him a warm hug to show her affection. Rei appreciated her kindness but found it a bit childish. However, Rei's presence started causing some issues in the military camp. Abby suggested that the most logical thing to do would be to him to the magical orphanage of infinite plot twists. Maybe he'll find his long-lost twin brother who's been the main antagonist all along. But Lydia was conflicted. She was worried about the dangers Rei could face at the camp, but she hesitated to send him away. Lydia spent the entire night deeply immersed in thought, unable to find any rest. She carefully weighed the pros and cons of keeping Rei at the camp or sending him to the academy. However, the decision to send Rei away for adoption was made the following day. Carol strongly voiced for protest. She had formed a profound connection with Rei and couldn't bear the idea of him living elsewhere. Despite Carol's clear feelings, it appeared that the ultimate decision lay with Lydia. Just as Lydia was about to speak, she noticed Rei standing nearby, discreetly listening to the meeting. She approached him and asked about his preferences. Rei gently held her arm and kindly requested to remain by her side. Touched by his heartfelt choice, Lydia generously offered to be his mentor and took him under her wing. She reassured him that everyone at the camp would be like family to him. Rei was eager to learn and aimed to make Lydia proud. However, Carol's affectionate nature could sometimes feel a bit overwhelming to him, even though he cherished it. 6 years later, Rei and his group found themselves entangled in the midst of the Far East War, right in the middle of the internal conflicts within the Republic of Muru. Despite the intense battles, Rei possessed enough power to effortlessly decimate an entire platoon of soldiers. After a particularly fierce clash, the team retreated to a campsite situated just beyond the main conflict area. Lydia expressed concern that such environments add the potential to trigger overheating, a condition where a sorcerer loses control over their powers due to excessive exertion. This overexertion could, in turn, result in a mental breakdown, a problem particularly affecting the newer generation of sorcerers. Upon their return to the camp, the team faced a daunting predicament. They had to journey back to the battlefield to aid their comrades. Concerns arose regarding Rei. They believed him to be too young to join them in this perilous endeavor. However, Rei insisted on going, emphasizing that this group was his family. Harvard, whom Rei regarded as an older brother, reassured him, promising to keep a vigilant watch over him. With their resolve steeled, they all returned to the battlefield. Unfortunately, the situation took a dire turn upon their return. Harvard tragically passed away and Lydia sustained a severe injury. Rei's heart shattered as overwhelming grief and rage fueled his power, leading to a colossal explosion that vanquished all their adversaries, putting an end to the conflict but causing Rei to faint. Lydia, since then, has been confined to a wheelchair due to her injuries. When Rei reached the age of 15, he stood at the entrance of the Academy of Sorcery, ready to embark on a new chapter in his life. As he passed through the gates, an encounter with another student occurred. Rei managed to prevent her from falling when they collided. A rosy blush colored her cheeks, while her friends couldn't contain their giggles. Rei offered his apologies, but she retorted that he shouldn't have been in her way. When Rei mentioned that he was a newcomer, the girls were taken aback. It was rumored that the only new student hailed from an ordinary family, lacking noble or sorcerer lineage. That student was Rei, and as the realization spread, many began to look down on him. A student by the name of Albert approached Rei, wearing a sneer on his face. He declared that the academy wasn't meant for regular folks like Rei. Rei remained composed, but Albert's anger intensified. Just as Albert was about to escalate the situation, a red-haired girl from one of the top families stepped in. She cast a stern gaze at Albert, who, with one final glare at Rei, retreated, vowing never to accept him. Amelia Rose, with her striking red hair, extended a friendly introduction to Rei. She expressed her gratitude for his bravery and commended him for being the first ordinary student at the academy. Rei shook her hand, genuinely appreciative of her support. She assured him that if he ever needed assistance, she would be there for him. Shortly thereafter, the entrance ceremony for the Arnold Academy of Sorcery commenced. Principal Abby Garnett welcomed the students with a heartfelt speech, emphasizing that although they possess potential, they must continue striving to become the best sorcerers they could be. The day held a pleasant surprise when Amelia, well known and respected by all, took the stage as the representative for the first-year students. Her words resonated deeply with everyone, inspiring and motivating them, reminding them of the challenges and rewards that lay ahead. Later, Ray stood nervously in his classroom, introducing himself to his new classmates. He couldn't help but notice the mixed reactions. Some students appeared friendly, while others engaged in hushed conversations, wondering how someone like him had earned a place there. Their teacher, Helena Grady, took command and directed Ray to his seat. Amidst the whispers, Amelia's warm greeting stood out, catching everyone off guard. As the class continued, Ray found himself lost in thoughts of the war. His daydreaming was abruptly interrupted when a piece of chalk flew at him. He managed to catch it, but it burst, leaving his face covered in a white powdery dust. Miss Grady, clearly irritated by his lack of attention, elicited laughter from the class. Ray swiftly apologized, and as everyone refocused, the lesson resumed. It was then that Miss Grady called upon Amelia to explain the ranks of sorcerers. Amelia began listing them, starting from the lowest: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and at the pinnacle, the holy rank of Grand Sorcerer. Miss Grady went on to explain that in any given era, only 7 individuals could hold the esteemed title of Grand Sorcerer. These 7 were universally recognized as the most powerful sorcerers worldwide. While most Grand Sorcerers preferred to remain anonymous, a few were known to the public. Abby, the Academy's principal, held such a title and was renowned for her formidable firepower, earning her the nickname the Burning Sorcerer. Another publicly known Grand Sorcerer was Carol Caroline, celebrated for her extensive research into the origins of all sorcerers. The teacher then brought up the legendary hero from the East War. Amelia inquired if the teacher was referring to the Iceblade Sorcerer, who had vanished after the war. Miss Gray confirmed this and revealed that the identities of the other 7 sorcerers remain a mystery. However, she assured the class that with strong determination and diligent training, anyone had the potential to become one of the 7. Albert stood up and questioned why someone like Ray, whom he considered ordinary, was being educated alongside them, fearing it might slow down their progress. The teacher silenced Albert, explaining that Ray, having passed the entry exam, started at the same starting point as everyone else. The teacher then turned to Rose, who defined sorcery as the art of rearranging matter in its prime state. She went on to explain the concept of code theory, which was essential in the process of reconstructing matter for magic. Different types of matter, solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, were utilized in magic, and when combined, they created various phenomena. The potential of magic had no limits, with greatness depending on each sorcerer's skills and mindset. A quiet student asked about the antimatter code, which could erase spells and creations. The teacher dismissed it as it was no longer in use. Class continued with students practicing spells. Rose excelled, demonstrating her proficiency, while Ray struggled, attracting the attention of many, including Albert, who remained dissatisfied about sharing a classroom with an ordinary person. After the class, Ray decided to explore the academy. He entered a library where he met Alyssa Griffith, the girl who had asked about the antimatter code. Alyssa was obsessed with the Answorth magic book and expressed her admiration for Ray's master. Ray revealed his own fascination with her, and the two formed a connection. After spending some time with Alyssa, Ray headed to the dormitory, where he met Evie, who had been waiting for him. Evie explained that he didn't judge people based on their social status and only valued their strength. It turned out they were both gym buddies. Evie appreciated Ray's uniqueness as a commoner, and they bonded over their shared strength and camaraderie. The following day, while Ray was exercising, he hurried past a girl, nearly causing her to fall. Realizing his mistake, he quickly turned back and apologized. The girl brushed it off and expressed surprise that he was up so early. She asked if he was new, and he introduced himself. The girl, Rebecca Bradley, recognized him as the first common boy in the school's history to be so widely discussed. While walking with Evie, Ray learned about the powerful families at the academy, the Rose, Bradley, and Aldrin families. These 3 families held as much influence as the royal family, with significant roles in politics and economics. Ray couldn't help but wonder about Amelia, and Evie provided some insight. He learned that Amelia was kind-hearted, part of the noble Rose family, and highly skilled in sorcery. As they chatted, Ray received a summons from Headmaster Abby. While on his way to meet with the headmaster, Ray accidentally collided with a girl who insisted on an apology. Initially reluctant, Ray eventually apologized, preventing her from making a fuss. She introduced herself as Clarice Cleveland, a popular girl seeking respect, and recognized Ray as the common boy. Finally, Ray met with Abby, who laughed and asked him to address her as Abby, not Kerr. She fondly remembered their past training. Training day arrived, and a mock fencing battle was arranged. Albert against Ray. The teacher cautioned against going too far. Albert taunted Ray, but to everyone's surprise, Ray swiftly ended the duel, even when Albert attempted another attack. Ray countered and broke Albert's sword. Abby, who was watching, recognized Ray's skill and praised him. In the evening, Ray and Evie engaged in an intense workout session following their training. Ray confided in Evie about his ambition to join 2 different clubs. Subsequently, Ray entered the Environmental Research Club, essentially a bodybuilder club consisting of hunters. The club president expressed doubt about Ray's abilities, but Ray showcased his muscular physique, leaving the members astonished. The The president revealed a golden hunter license, to which Ray countered with his own card, causing disbelief among the members and securing a place in the club. Following this, Ray turned his attention to his next club choice, different from the previous one. Rebecca, a member of the club, questioned Ray's interest in joining the gardening group. Ray revealed his fondness for plants, sparking a conversation. Rebecca was inclined to accept him, but Dina raised objections. Dina challenged Ray by assigning him the task of transforming a neglected rooftop into a garden within a week. In less than a week, Ray worked tirelessly to turn the gardening club's neglected rooftop into a breathtaking masterpiece, leaving its members in awe. Despite Dina's initial reluctance, she eventually accepted his application. Later, Ray encountered Abby, who warned of a spy in the academy and instructed him to report any suspicions to her office. On his way back to the dormitory, Ray ran into Clarice, who was engrossed in a bug search. Despite his initial confusion, Ray learned of Clara's preference for bugs over conventional pets. Seeing that she had no friends, Ray extended his hand in friendship and offer Clarice eagerly accepted. The next day during class, Ray explained the branches of sorcery, which drew Albert's irritation as the upcoming CFA Forest skill practical training loomed. Miss Grady instructed the students to form teams, and Ray's charm quickly recruited Ia, Elisa, and Evie, forming the dream team. In the forest, Miss Grady unveiled the challenge: reach the center of the forest within 24 hours while collecting stamps along the way. Monsters lurked in the woods, and Amelia took charge of planning their formation. However, Ray suggested swapping positions with Amelia, citing his experience. As they progressed, a giant wasp attacked Elisa. Ray stepped in and effortlessly defeated it, leaving everyone stunned. They earned their first stamp and camped for the night. The girls discussed Ray's combat and survival skills, and Evie casually mentioned Ray's gold-class hunter skills. Ray quickly came up with a cover story, but Amelia remained skeptical. The following day, a scream rang out, and Ray confronted three-eyed monsters attacking Albert. Ray swiftly dispatched one of them, but Albert remained stubborn. Amelia marveled at Ray's prowess, and a hooded figure revived the defeated monster. Clarice froze in her tracks upon hearing the monster's roar, unable to tear her gaze away from the rare beast. Ray attempted to strike the monster, but his weapon couldn't penetrate its tough skin. Just as he contemplated using his hidden power, Amelia erected a wall of fire. Ray threw a rock, and Alyssa used her air magic to propel it even faster. The rock struck the monster, and Ray seized the opportunity, swinging his weapon to slice the monster in two. Albert then joined in to help free everyone from the monster's sticky web. Clarice couldn't conceal her awe. Ray's strength had left a profound impression on her, and her twin tails betrayed her feelings. Following the battle, they gathered the final stamp required. During the awards ceremony, Ray's team was declared the winner. Clarice observed a mixed response and noticed that not everyone was pleased with the result. Some individuals harbored discontent because an individual without a prestigious background had emerged victorious. However, Evie comforted Ray by emphasizing the significance of their victory. Several days passed, and Ray paid a visit to his mentor. They sat down, enjoyed some tea, and engaged in a conversation. Lydia mentioned that it would take Ray approximately 5 years to fully recover his strength. They also discussed a forbidden spell that Ray might need to use in the future. Lydia expressed her trust in Ray to make the correct decision. Before he departed, Lydia brought up a rumor she had heard. As a prominent researcher who focused on understanding the brain's role in magic, her work had attracted the attention of unscrupulous individuals. This included a discovery known as an engram, a component of the brain responsible for retaining spells and memory. Lydia revealed that there was an obsessed group called eugenics, willing to disregard ethical principles to achieve their goals. Instead of patiently waiting to learn from a sorcerer's brain, they resorted to the extreme measure of surgically removing it to expedite their research. Shifting the conversation, Ray and his mentor Lydia took a stroll in the woods. She inquired if he had made any friends, and he mentioned Evie and the girls. Lydia then discussed the tournament, which she had won 4 times consecutively. She suggested that Ray should participate, but Ray expressed his preference for watching and supporting his friends. Before parting ways, she gifted him a book that she believed would be useful in the future. Ray makes his way to school as per Miss Grady's request, as she's curious about his experience at the academy. Ray responds with a simple "fine," which surprises her given that she's aware most students don't hold him in high regard. She expresses her regret for not offering more support and assures him that she will be there for him moving forward. Meanwhile, Albert, who has been absent from school, dedicates himself to honing his flame magic with the singular goal of surpassing Ray. Unbeknownst to him, a cloaked figure lurks in the background, wearing a rather sinister grin. The following morning, Rebecca approaches Ray with a request to help organize the upcoming tournament. Ray agrees and mentions his intention to cheer for Amelia, who is favored due to her family background. Curious, Ray inquires about the other prominent noble family, to which Rebecca reveals it to be Auburns, with their eldest daughter attending Dom Academy of Sorcery. Subsequently, the teacher initiates training sessions for the first round of the tournament, which aims to select the school's representatives. As anticipated, Amelia swiftly defeats her opponent in less than a minute. Seeking a more challenging adversary, she proposes sparring with Ray next. This decision draws the disapproving glares of the nobility, but the teacher greenlights the duel. Amelia charges at Ray, who adeptly parries each of her moves. He notices her agility, but recognizes her strikes lack force. Despite her relentless attempts, she struggles to land a hit. Amidst the duel, Ray's thoughts wander to his past experiences with Havard, momentarily diverting his focus. He almost lowers his guard, poised for a decisive strike, but refrains and sheathes his sword. The teacher calls it, declaring Amelia as the winner of this round. In the cafeteria, Ray's friends gather around him, inquiring about his exceptional combat skills. Ray attributes his proficiency to a mentor who imparted both swordsmanship and sorcery knowledge. At that moment, Albert disrupts their meal, challenging Ray to a duel. Fed up with Albert's provocations, Ray accepts the challenge. They face off outside the school within a vast magic barrier-enclosed area. Albert tosses Ray a real sword and sets a single rule: the first to concede loses. Albert unleashes his magic aggressively, launching a relentless barrage of attacks. Ray is forced into a defensive stance, deflecting Albert's onslaught. Albert's frustration mounts, compounded not only by Ray's superior skills but also by his family's low ranking among the nobility. Albert's father faced hardships, and Albert aspires to rectify their status by becoming a top sorcerer and defeating Ray. However, Ray effortlessly cuts through Albert's fiery assault. Each missed attack fuels Albert's anger further, even leading him to speculate that Ray might secretly hail from noble lineage due to his exceptional abilities. Ray asserts that skill is unrelated to family background, further enraging Albert. Albert, undeterred, makes another attempt, even summoning a fire dragon, but Ray promptly extinguishes it. Defeated and broken, Albert collapses to his knees. Amelia, who witnessed the entire ordeal, urges Ray to reveal his true identity. Just as Ray is on the verge of disclosing his secret, gravity inexplicably shifts, causing everyone except Ray to be pinned to the ground. A cloaked figure emerges and emits villainous laughter. To everyone's astonishment, the figure is revealed to be their teacher, Grady. She confesses to spying on the academy and discloses her intention to utilize the students in a bizarre sorcery experiment. Ray determines that dealing with Grady takes precedence over divulging his secret. He pieces together that Helena is affiliated with eugenics. During training, she controlled the forest monsters in the hopes of abducting students for her unsettling in-gram research. While Albert may be more boast than skill, Helena acknowledges him for providing the distraction necessary to trap the truly adept sorcerers. Ray's anger swells and he resolves to teach Helena a harsh lesson. Aware that she cannot match him up close, she maintains her distance and summons 2 fire snakes. When this tactic fails, she resorts to threatening to set the immobilized students on fire. With no alternative, Ray unveils his true identity as the Iceblade Sorcerer. Helena is taken aback, but Ray wastes no time. He conjures ice blades that neutralize her magic. She attempts to summon her formidable move, the Purgatory Dragon, but Ray swiftly counters it with a specialized code. Helena makes a desperate bid to flee, but Ray's ice blades block her path. She feigns begging for her life, intending to catch Ray off guard, but her ploy fails, and Ray remains unscathed. Helena, realizing she's outmatched, resorts to a desperate gambit. She injects herself with eugenics experimental substance, undergoing a monstrous transformation. Helena removes the barrier and dispels the immobilization spell that had affected the students. However, despite her efforts, she struggles to land successful hits on Ray with her projectile attacks. Helena remains determined and refuses to concede, even resorting to employing dangerous magic. Despite Ray's current advantage, it becomes evident that he is wrestling with significant physical discomfort while attempting to harness his power fully. Despite Helena's lingering hope for a reversal, Ray employs the ice flower profusion against her. Helena emits a scream of agony as she becomes ensnared in a violent tempest, ultimately culminating in her encasement within a solid block of ice. Exhausted, Ray collapses, prompting his friends to rush to his side, deeply concerned for his well-being. When Ray regains consciousness, he finds Lydia by his side. He inquires about the team and learns that everyone is safe. Lydia expresses her pride in Ray but leaves the room in a wheelchair due to an old injury. The maid conveys to Ray that Lydia genuinely cares for him, leaving Ray to reflect on Lydia's kindness. Abby, one of the academy leaders, shares an unexpected revelation. Initially, she had rejected Ray's admission into the academy. Ray was different and she had doubts about his fit. However, Lydia had staunchly defended him, even going to the extent of begging, a behavior Abby had never witnessed from Lydia before. Lydia had set aside her pride to ensure that Ray had the opportunity to learn and develop. Hearing this, Ray is profoundly moved. Tears well up in his eyes and he softly utters, "Master," expressing his heartfelt gratitude. Lydia had left already, her own tears flowing, as she wished for Ray to have a better life. After Abby departs, Ray's friends come to visit him, relieved that he's safe. Ray decides it's time to reveal a closely guarded secret. He is the Iceblade Sorcerer, one of the 7 special sorcerers. He had kept this information hidden, but now he believes they need to know. Ray then opens up about a painful memory from a significant battle. He lost control of his powers while attempting to save his friend Harvard. The resulting chaos caused destruction all around him. When the dust settled, a bloodied Lydia had embraced him tightly. Ray discloses that he has been using a unique sorcery known as Kronos' Lock to manage his powers and prevent further accidents. He carries guilt from the past and feels undeserving of his friends, but they strongly disagree. They assure him that they will always support him and want him to find happiness. Feeling reassured, Ray is ready to continue his studies at the academy. His friends gather around him in a heartfelt group hug, emphasizing their trust in him to protect them as well. That night, Albert, a former student who had once bullied Ray, sneaks into his room. Before Albert can utter a word, Ray senses his intention to apologize. Ray quickly forgives him and offers some guidance. He points out that Albert possesses a unique talent and should not squander it by being envious of others. Touched by Ray's understanding, Albert promises to do better. The following day brings a surprise at the academy. The new teacher is Carol, known for her playful and sassy nature. Ray rolls his eyes, hoping she won't bring too much levity to the classroom. Carol introduces herself and can't resist being a bit flirtatious with the students. Everyone is pleased to have Carol as their new teacher. She is kind, communicates effectively, and is straightforward. Furthermore, she shows a soft spot for Ray, which should make things easier for him. At the academy, Caroline introduced herself as Caro Caro. She eagerly shared news about the Sorcery Swordsman tournament, but Ray wasn't particularly enthusiastic. His attention was primarily on Caroline, the new teacher, and he harbored some reservations about her. Caroline explained the tournament's structure, with first-year students participating in a beginner's competition, while older students would compete in the main elimination round. 16 students from 3 would represent their academy, which was allowed 6 representatives due to last year's champion being Rebecca Bradley. Caroline cautioned that although their academy excelled in combined abilities, the Deem Academy was renowned for its physical combat prowess, and the Meros Academy was recognized for its academic research, producing many future researchers. She concluded her speech by assuring that the academy staff would provide support to the competitors. After Caroline's departure, Ray headed straight to the head office to vent his frustrations. He needed to express his concerns. Upon meeting Miss Abby, he began to complain about Caroline's presence at the academy. Abby, in Caroline's defense, praised her sorcery skills, but Ray disagreed and asserted that he was superior. However, as they conversed, Caroline suddenly made an appearance, attempting to hug Ray. Ray, recalling her clingy nature from their younger days, attempted to evade her affections. Miss Abby simply observed the situation, suggesting to Ray that he should accept it. On that particular day, Ray and his friend observed other students as they trained for the upcoming tournament. To Ray's friend's amazement, Ray made a prediction about the outcome of a match in just 2 seconds. While Ray was explaining his method, their attention was diverted by a match featuring Lady Amelia against another student. Ray's friend ventured her own prediction, which turned out to be accurate. In just 6 seconds, Amelia emerged victorious in the match, eliciting cheers from the onlooking students. Little did they know about the self-doubt Amelia harbored despite her remarkable victory. Ray considered it typical of Amelia to excel, but he suspected that she might have a different perspective on her achievements, given her self-perception. Later, Amelia met with her father, who reminded her of the high expectations associated with her royal lineage. He urged her to perform well and surpass Arian, another formidable competitor. The following day, Ray and his friends engaged in discussions about Arian and Amelia. They unanimously agreed that Arian possessed confidence and pride, qualities that often contributed to her success. Like Amelia, she hailed from a noble family, but her personality contrasted significantly with Amelia's. While Arian exuded confidence, Amelia frequently grappled with self-doubt, occasionally affecting her performance. One of Ray's friends shared personal experiences of competing against Arian, recounting numerous impressive anecdotes. However, someone else speculated that the ultimate victor might be Rebecca, the previous year's tournament champion. The tournament's selection process commenced with Amelia securing her place after swiftly defeating Albert in a test match. Despite Albert's loss, he also qualified for the tournament. The students expressed their support for Amelia, to which she responded with a simple acknowledgement before moving on. Encouraged by the backing of her peers and driven by her father's expectations, Amelia resolved to push herself to new limits in preparation for the tournament. In the meantime, Ray stumbled upon a book that had been gifted to him by his former mentor Lydia, evoking a flood of memories. Fueled by nostalgia, he set out to find Amelia in the academy's garden. Her surprise was evident when she saw him, but Ray wasted no time in offering encouragement and proposing to train her for the upcoming tournament. Excitement filled Amelia, and she readily accepted his offer. During their conversation, she opened up to Ray about her past friendship with Arian. They had initially met at a childhood party, with Arian taking the initiative to approach her. Their bond had deepened quickly, leading to shared adventures and even joint swimming expeditions. However, as they both grew older, a defeat to Arian in a sparring match had a profound impact on Amelia's self-perception. She felt that it wasn't Arian who had changed, but rather herself. Later that day, while in her room, Amelia confronted her royal status, believing that she needed to win the tournament to uphold her family's name. The following morning, Amelia met Ray, who displayed an unexpectedly serious demeanor. Instead of allowing her to address him by his name, he insisted on being called Master White. In return, he bestowed upon her the name Area Ranger. Although puzzled, Amelia complied with his request. Without offering her a moment to adapt, Ray assigned her a challenging task, a demanding run around the academy grounds, followed by a journey into the Cabo Forest and back. The rigorous challenge left Amelia taken aback, and she began to question if Ray was pushing her too hard. Disregarding her hesitation, Ray promptly corrected her for not addressing him correctly. Hurrying to rectify her mistake, Amelia set off on her demanding task. Upon Amelia's return from her grueling task, Ray commended her effort while cautioning her about even more demanding training awaiting her the next day. This left Amelia with a sense of apprehension regarding the rigorous regimen that lay ahead, a change in behavior that her friends noticed. Now frequently fatigued, she would occasionally doze off during class. One night, Amelia had a distressing dream in which she pleaded with Arian not to abandon her. She woke up emotionally distraught, but fortunately, Alyssa and another friend rushed to her side, offering solace and support. Amelia's dream was abruptly interrupted by Ray's voice, causing the vivid dream to dissipate. In the dream, Ray had been charmingly offering her an apple. However, her awakening in the girls' dormitory was less pleasant as Ray was using a kitchen utensil to rouse her from her slumber. Exhausted and lacking enthusiasm for training, Amelia found that Ray was already waiting for her outside. As they conversed, two girls in pajamas confronted Ray about the early morning disturbance he had caused in the girls' dormitory. He swiftly apologized and complimented them on their sleepwear. While the girls engaged in conversation with Ray, Amelia seized an opportunity to sneak away, hoping to avoid her upcoming training session. Noticing her attempt to escape, Ray dashed after her, leaving the girls behind. He embarked on an extensive search of the entire academy to locate Amelia. During his quest to find Amelia, Ray encountered Albert sitting alone in a chamber. Curious about Albert's friends, Ray inquired and learned of Albert's preference for solitude. Seizing the moment, Ray uplifted Albert with encouraging words, emphasizing his worth and potential. Filled with newfound motivation and inspiration, Albert expressed his gratitude to Ray as they parted ways. Ray approached Elisa and her friend inquiring about Amelia's whereabouts, but they were unaware of her location. Ray then donned his mask and employed his unique abilities to track down Amelia. Without a moment's hesitation, he swiftly left the room, leaving Alyssa and her companion in awe of his capabilities. In a corridor within the academy, Amelia found herself when Ray suddenly appeared and grasped her hand. He admonished her for attempting to evade his training, emphasizing its significance for her success. Despite Amelia's attempts to explain that she had been trying to escape, Ray remained resolute and guided her away from the area. Ray warned Amelia that her punishment would be more severe since she had missed the day's training. She would have to hold his hand throughout the training session. Prior to arriving at the training grounds, Ray enlisted the assistance of some of his senior friends, members of a rigorous cheerleading group, who agreed to aid both Ray and Amelia. Despite the added challenge, Amelia continued to exert herself, investing even more effort into her training. Her dedication did not go unnoticed by her fellow students at the academy, as well as her friends. To ensure that Amelia was committed to her preparation for the upcoming tournament, Ray took it upon himself to disguise as a woman and secretly observe her training sessions in his absence. He was pleased to witness her wholehearted dedication to improving her skills independently. In the schoolyard, Lily White and the little girl by her side garnered admiration from other girls as they strolled. Lily, determined to locate the girl's sister, engaged in a friendly conversation with her, learning that her name was Tiana Alin. Lily reassured Tiana that they would find her missing sibling. As they continued their search, more girls couldn't help but swoon over Lily, captivated by her appearance. Lily eventually found Tiana's sister, Erin Aldrin, who was taking a break. Erin felt the need to apologize for Tiana's behavior, but Lily brushed it off, seeing Tiana as a well-behaved child rather than a troublemaker. After introductions were made, they decided to sit down for a tea break. During their conversation, Erin couldn't help but notice that Lily wasn't a student at their academy. Instead of denying it, Lily openly confirmed Eren's observation and even praised her for her intelligence. Eren, in turn, talked about her own qualities of intelligence and courage, encouraging Lily to be honest and not to hide the truth. To Eren's great surprise, Lily's voice suddenly shifted to a more masculine tone, leaving her utterly shocked.
Okay, you want the truth? Here it is.
Apologizing for the deception, Lily revealed his true identity as Ray. Eren struggled to process this unexpected revelation. Ray explained that he had used a combination of coding and sorcery to alter his voice. As Eren began to regain her composure, she racked her brain trying to recall where she might have heard the name Ray White before. It finally clicked. Ray was the first commoner to gain admission to the Arnold Academy of Sorcery, renowned for his exceptional combat abilities. Ray acknowledges that he hadn't anticipated the rumors about him spreading to Eren's school. Despite the initial awkwardness, Eren feels compelled to express her gratitude to Ray for his assistance in finding her sister. She pledges to showcase her combat skills, fueled by Tiana's enthusiastic cheers. Subsequently, Ray and Eren engage in a skilled simulated battle. Eren requests that Ray use his altered feminine voice, and they execute their moves gracefully. After the match, Ray commends Aran's strength, predicting a bright future for Tiana. Ray declines the Sorcery Swordsman tournament as he's training his friend Amelia. He expresses confidence in Amelia's victory and takes his leave. Upon returning to the academy disguised as Lily, Ray chides himself for being late and prevents Maria from stumbling. He learns that Maria is enrolling at the academy due to his kindness. Maria asks Lily to wait for her until next year and rushes off. Ray then meets up with Amelia, Elisa, and Clarice at their training spot and inquires about their practice. Amelia promptly claims that they've trained well. Suddenly, all three friends notice Ray's feminine appearance and are surprised to hear his voice coming from a girl. Ray explains that he just completed a special task, which explains his current appearance. Later, Ray and his friends ride in a luxurious carriage with a person named Evie, engaging in conversation about their rigorous training in an attempt to ease their nerves. Ray reassures them that there's no need to stress because his teacher is kind and supportive. Upon reaching their destination, they meet Lydia. Ray introduces his friends to her, and Lydia looks at Evie, praising his hard work and advising him to stay close to Ray, to which Evie promises he will. Melissa, a bit apprehensive, shares that she's a half-elf, and Lydia responds positively, offering her additional praise. Melissa, an admirer of Lydia, requests her autograph, and Lydia gladly obliges. Clarice greets Lydia but accidentally hurts her tongue in the process. Lydia brushes it off, and they discuss Clara's aspiration to become a hunter. Clarice is surprised by how Lydia knows her ambition, and Lydia explains that she learned about it from Clarice's family. Lydia proudly shows Clarice her Platinum Hunter's card, but mentions she can't use it anymore due to her health. This revelation astonishes Clarice, and Lydia encourages her by emphasizing that even though she's from a noble family, she can still pursue a career as a hunter. Subsequently, Amelia engages in a private conversation with Lydia. Lydia recalls meeting Amelia at some social events and requests a private chat with her. As they depart, Lydia's assistant, Carla, approaches Ray and asks for his assistance in the kitchen. Inside the kitchen, Carla shares concerning information about a dangerous group called the Grim Reaper from the Evil Empire, hinting at their potential plans. Ray is left wondering about their intentions. Although Carla lacks detailed information, her worries coincide with a significant tournament where many influential individuals will be present. She urges Ray to be cautious and vigilant. In a serene room, Lydia provides Amelia with a supportive environment to share her concerns. Despite her initial attempts to downplay her worries, Amelia is confronted with several letters from Ray, who has been corresponding with Lydia about his concerns for her. Ray is unsure whether to intervene and help Amelia or leave her be. Lydia inquires whether Amelia is aware of Ray's past, to which Amelia responds affirmatively. She reveals that Lydia was Ray's magic teacher, imparting all her magical knowledge to him. Despite becoming the world's most potent sorcerer, there was one aspect Lydia couldn't teach Ray: understanding emotions. In his youth, Ray had been emotionally wounded and had closed himself off. Lydia had hoped that attending the academy would help him open up and make friends. She emphasizes to Amelia the importance of relying on friends and sharing her concerns, especially when someone like Ray cares so deeply for her. Following their conversation, Lydia and Amelia join the others for dinner. Ray spends time with Evie, engaging in some physical exercise. Evie expresses gratitude to Ray for the invitation and praises the food and Lydia's kindness. Ray reflects on how wonderful his day has been, watching Amelia's training progress and feeling proud of her achievements. Ray recalls Lydia's advice about recognizing Amelia's hard work. He interrupts Amelia's training to offer his praise, and she eagerly awaits the next step. Ray informs her that it's time for a test. If Amelia can touch the rose on his chest with her sword, he will award her a special badge. Ray assures her that he won't use his full power, demonstrating his belief in her abilities. Both draw their swords, poised to begin. The eagerly awaited day has arrived: the Grand Sorcery Swordsman Tournament. The announcer encourages every student to give their best, officially inaugurating the tournament. Amelia paces nervously in the hallway, her anticipation building as she prepares for her upcoming match. Suddenly, Aran approaches, attempting to engage in casual conversation. Aran notices the change in Amelia's demeanor, realizing it has been a while since they last spoke face-to-face. Despite Amelia's serious expression, Aran extends a friendly handshake, expressing her hope that they will face each other in the finals. The tournament progresses, and it's time for the semi-finals of the beginner's level. The match features the timid Gerard from the Immerse Academy of Sorcery pitted against Amelia Rose. The judge outlines the rules. The objective is to either incapacitate the opponent or retrieve the rose from their chest. However, only the judge can determine when a match is concluded based on a contestant's condition. As the match commences, Gerard makes an initial move towards Amelia, but she swiftly evades his attack, positioning herself behind him. In a surprising turn of events, Amelia employs a single sorcery spell to pluck the rose from Gerard's chest, securing her victory. The commentator elucidates the intricacies of her strategy to the audience. Amelia strategically embedded an active sorcery spell in the ground, luring Gerard into it and securing a brilliant victory. Her clever tactics leave many students in admiration, inspired by her intelligent gameplay and effortless win. Amidst the continued applause, Ray stands up from his seat. Abi inquires about his departure, and Ray explains that he must return to his duties as a committee member. The next match is announced: Iran versus Albert, who is from Ray's school. Before the match starts, Ray gives Albert his row and wishes him luck on the field. Cheerleaders shout support for Arian. As the whistle blows, Arian and Albert's swords clash in an intense duel. What's your take on this upcoming fight? Who's your bet for the winner? Can Albert show his worth in this battle? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're catching this video at a later time, you may find a link to the second part of this anime recap in the description. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and explore our other fantastic recaps.